Teacher talking sports, what it does, what it do, how we live. And let's continue the series I've been doing where I attempt to name the best player in every NFL franchise's history, their GOAT. Of course, these are all subjective, but going in alphabetical order, today we are doing the Houston Texans. Now, the Houston Texans have only been a franchise since 2002, so they have the least amount of time in the NFL out of all the 32 franchises, 23 seasons of play. But that doesn't mean they haven't had their share of good players throughout the years. So, two off seasons ago, I did my Mount Rushmores by teams, the four best players in my eyes in each franchise's history. Last off season, I did my Mount Rushmores by position, the four best players at each position in NFL history. So with each of these, I start by looking at the Mount Rushmores. Say if I would change anything before naming the GOAT. So for the Texans, in alphabetical order by last name on the Mount Rushmore, I included Arian Foster, a first-team All-Pro in 2010. I had DeAndre Hopkins, wide receiver, three straight first-team All-Pros from 2017 to 2019, 1,000-yard seasons. Andre Johnson, recently inducted in the Hall of Fame this year, did most of his damage with the Texans. And J.J. Watt, three-time Defensive Player of the Year. Some honorable mentions that I said 2 years ago included Deshaun Watson. Man, surprising that he did not make it, but I'm not going to get into it. But it looked like for sure he could have made the Mount Rushmore. That is not the case. I'm not putting him on over any of these four. And not on the team anymore. Jonathan Joseph, Dwayne Brown, Chris Myers, D'Amico Ryans, Matt Schaub, Mario Williams, and Jadeveon Clowney. So I'm going to keep the Mount Rushmore as is. I'll name a couple active guys that maybe can make it in the future. But let's get into it. Who is the best player in franchise history? I have to go with defensive end J.J. Watt, the 11th overall pick in the 2011 NFL Draft. Watt would end up playing 10 seasons for the Texans from 2011 to 2020. Three-time Defensive Player of the Year, 2012, 2014, 2015. One of three guys ever to win Defensive Player of the Year three times, along with Lawrence Taylor and Aaron Donald. Watt was the second to do so. Let's take a look at his season-by-season numbers. So he actually finished sixth in Defensive Player of the Year voting in 2013 and was the runner-up for Comeback Player of the Year 2018. Made 5 Pro Bowls with the Texans 4 years in a row, 2012, 2015, and 2018. All 5 of those seasons, he was also named a first-team All-Pro. Twice, Watt led the NFL in sacks, 20.5, 2012, 2015, 17.5. Also had 20.5 sacks in 2014. All in all, Watt totaled 101 sacks with the Texans. You would have to believe it would have been more if he didn't have some injury-plagued seasons, 2016, 2017, 2019, those 3 seasons. Combined to play just 16 games, but he did have 5 seasons of double-digit sacks, 4 seasons of at least 16 sacks while with the Texans. 3 seasons he led the league in tackles for loss. Should also mention 2014 he finished as the runner-up for MVP, an impressive feat for a defensive player. He finished only behind Aaron Rodgers. Intercepted 2 passes in his career, returned both for touchdowns, forced 27 fumbles, including a league-leading 7 and 27. Recovered 16 with the Texans, one of which he had a touchdown. Had 4 seasons with more than 75 tackles, impressive for a defensive and just one of the biggest threats every year as a pass rusher, one of the most feared pass rushers in the game. While the Texans never reached the Super Bowl, they did make the playoffs 5 times in his career while he was healthy. Played in 8 games. Intercepted a pass, also for a touchdown. So his 3 career interceptions, all were returned for scores. Also had 6 sacks in those 8 playoff games. 2014, he actually caught 3 passes as well, all for scores. So again, if you were to take a look at the most feared players in NFL history at the defensive end, J.J. Watt would have to be near the top of the list. Unfortunately, again, injuries derailed him a bit, but he still did a lot. Again, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, a Hall of Fame All 2010s team, 2017 Walter Payton Man of the Year. I get that's not on the field, but shows you he's a nice man off the field as well. Although, if you ask opposing quarterbacks, they might not say the same, but I have to go J.J. Watt as the best player in franchise history. Let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree. Would you consider someone else to be the GOAT of the Houston Texans? So, as I said, I'd look at the active roster, see if I believe anyone could overtake the GOAT or at least make the Mount Rushmore. Of course, the first name that comes to mind is quarterback CJ Stroud. I mean, it's far too early. He's only played 1 season, but he's coming off one of the best rookie seasons ever by a quarterback. We got left tackle Laramie Tunzel. He's made 4 Pro Bowls as a Houston Texan. I think he's at least an honorable mention at this point. Will Anderson also just 1 season, but he is the reigning Defensive Rookie of the Year. Those are 3 guys that potentially could at least find their way on the Mount Rushmore. Going to be hard for any of them to overtake Watt. Although CJ Stroud, I would say, has the best chance of the 3, but again, just 1 season. We're a long way off before we could even consider that. But that is my Houston Texans GOAT, J.J. Watt. Again, doing these in alphabetical order. Stay tuned for tomorrow as I will do the Indianapolis Colts. Anyhow, don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.